Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kemjisha, and on my YouTube channel I do share with you my life experience working as a housemaid in Saudi Arabia. So for today's video, I'm sharing with you some of the common annoying behaviors that madams do have. They do have very many annoying behaviors, but mainly I'm going to be talking about the common ones that I've not only seen in the home that I work in, but also at the homes that we go to visit in with my bosses, maybe the mom's home or the stepsister's home or even the in-laws. I've noticed these behaviors are very common, and to me they're very annoying. If I had anyone I could tell them to change, I could have told them, but I have no way, I have no right to do that. So if you're new on my channel, you are very much welcome, and if you are my returning subscriber, thank you so much for the love. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting this notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. So the number one annoying habit is screaming and shouting. This is like the anthem of the house. I mean, like the Arab home. These people can shout, and it really gets to the worst part when you're that kind of person who has never been in a toxic area, or you've never been in a home where there's screaming and shouting. Like at my parents' house, we never get screamed at or shouted at because we always do things right. I always avoided being screamed at school. Like, I didn't want to make the teacher shout at me because I hated it. But here in the Arab homes, they will shout, scream, even when they're just calling you for something small. They have that thinking that if you don't shout at a housemaid, she does not make things really the way they want them. But for me, if you scream at me, I'm always like scared. I don't do things right. That's the truth. Because I'm always scared, I'm not listening well because of fear and having that anxiety. If I don't do this thing, they're going to scream at me or shout at me. And if I'm to be honest with you guys, my very first year, I did cry a lot. I cried like a baby because I didn't know any language. Then my boss would send me something, then I would bring like the wrong thing. She didn't know English. She was an old lady. So whenever I would bring it, she would scream at me and shout at me and make some signs like this. I think she was like, can't imagine, no, but she wasn't telling me. Then it goes to the worstest part when you start learning the language. If you're that kind of person who is hurt by words and you start like learning like the Majnun and man, they're saying I'm stupid and you're hurt, that means you're going to stay crying, whether the first month or the second month or the third month. But guys, me, I cried my first year, and my second year, I think like in the quarter of it, that is when I stopped crying because I was seeing like my contract is ending. So when it came to like 5 months to finish the contract, my boss was starting to be friendly because she wanted me to renew. I was like, Neda, si renewing, but I didn't tell her. So screaming and shouting is something that I've seen in most of the Arab homes that I've had chance to visit. My boss's friends, my boss's sisters, the in-laws, I've seen that thing that they scream and shout. Number two is serving with hands even when they have spoons. I just don't know, I can tell them to at least try their best to use some spoons. I remember at my first workplace, my madam was like, are you hungry? I was like, yes, I'm hungry. She was like, okay, bring your plate. So I brought the plate, and the next thing I saw her doing was like this. She grabbed the hand, then dipped it in the rice, cooked rice, and put on my plate. I was like, should I bring also the spoon? Why didn't you tell me to bring the spoon? She was like, no, it's okay, it's okay. This one is going to be enough for you. She was like, you want meat? I was like, yes. I thought she was going to carry the meat. I saw her dividing it with her fingers. I was like, madam, why can't you at least have some mercy and let me use the spoons and the forks? We have them. So this habit, I've also seen it in very many homes. They don't love using spoons to serve the food, maybe when they're getting it from the saucepan. But I've also seen people who grab their hands and dip it in there and type there to remove the food, which is not something nice. Recently, I was in the kitchen, then my boss's sister came in with her daughter. Her daughter is around 10. So the daughter was hungry and the mom was trying to get the food. So the mom was using the hands. 10-year-old daughter told the mom, there are spoons, there are forks. Why do you have to remove the food with your hands? Me, I don't like this kind of food. Just 10 years. I almost shouted like, yes, Thank you for telling her. But I was like, when I shout like that, they may slap her or even slap me. But I was really happy that even this young kid saw it and she had to tell the mom. Number 3, it's a habit that I saw at my boss's brother's home and also at the sister's home. They served food like the whole saucepan, and they never left for me and their housemaid food. They took all the food. So I asked the housemaid who was there, who was also a Ugandan, and I said, like, they've taken all the food. Are we going to cook our own food? What are we going to do? So that girl was like, we're going to wait for them to finish, then for us we shall eat later. I was like, but what if they finish all the food? Because it wasn't really much. Like, if they finish all the food, we're going to eat kubza. Then I asked her, is this how you live, like this, like this? She was like, this is life. In fact, I've cooked a lot of food just because you guys are here. Your madam is here. But if not that, it would have been less. So we waited for the food. If I'm to be honest with you guys, they brought the plates were empty. They were empty. So I was like, maybe this madam is going to tell us to cook our own food. So then she came smiling. Asfa. Khalas akil. The food is finished, but there's some kubza. You can also get some water. At this point, we can't cook again. Maybe supper. I was like, are you for real? We should eat kubza when we have cooked the food. And the one who cut the meat, and the one who washed it, we cut the onions, the garlic, and you're telling us to eat kubza because you've served the entire food. So at my boss's place, I don't want to lie, they don't take all the food. They leave my food there. And at my old place where I worked, I used even to eat first before them. Sometimes they'll be like, we have cooked, but for us, we're not going to eat at this moment. If you want to eat, go and serve yourself. Go and serve yourself. And I would serve myself. But we went to those 2 homes and I learned a lesson. So I even came with my bosses. My bosses were like, have you really eaten? I was like, to be honest with you guys, I'm very hungry. I've not eaten. So they stopped at the shawarma. That shawarma, they bought some sandwiches and some soda. So that is how I survived. But I've seen that habit in some homes that I go in, not in this home that I'm in. I don't want to lie. Then another habit is eating from a boiling saucepan. You find someone dipping in a fork or a spoon trying to grab some meat or some soup. Most of the times it is soup. Then you find them drinking and leaving a half and pouring it back. I was like, yeah. And you hear them telling me, there's salt, there's no salt. Oh, it is little salt. So I told my boss, my boss, first in Uganda when we were testing salt, you grab like that spoon, then like bring your hand like up and put the spoon here, like, or pour the soup here. Or grab the one that you can finish so that you won't return in the other soup. So she was like, oh, for us in Saudi Arabia, we do like this. So I was like, now you're mixing in your saliva with this other food. But I ate it. I don't want to lie. I ate it. But I also hate that behavior. And it's very common. At my workplace, at my old workplace, at the sisters' homes, the in-laws' homes that we go in, I always see that habit. It's very common. Another habit is appreciating the other person's maid and not you. I don't know if you guys have discovered that, but I've seen it with a lot of bosses who come at my place. I remember I went with my boss somewhere and she was already appreciating the housemaid who was there. I had her telling the madam, madam, wala your shagala, she's good. She can work, but mine, she doesn't work. My boss was telling the other madam. So the other madam was like, you see my maid, she loves sleeping, she loves phone, she does what? So I was like, no one is going to appreciate really a maid. My boss is not appreciating me. At the same time, she's appreciating someone's maid who is not also appreciating her. So this habit of appreciating someone else's maid, I've also seen it very, very much. At my workplace, when we go to other places, you find other bosses saying, oh, your housemaid is very good, she cleans, she does this, but mine, she doesn't. Even when my bosses are appreciating the other person. So sometimes I get confused what these people want. They have another behavior of saying housemaids do smell a lot, they don't bathe. But man, my boss can take even a week without bathing. And she's okay with that. But just one day, as long as you don't spray perfume, as long as you don't spray perfume, that means you're smelling. To me, I think they just love the scents. Even if you've finished bathing now, she can say you're smelling just because you don't have a perfume. That is a comment that I've heard from all my friends that I came with. I have my cousin sister. She bathes 3 times in a day, morning, afternoon, and when going to sleep. And she was like, you know, my boss told me I'm smelling. I was like, your boss maybe smelled something else. She was like, no. She came to me and she told me, buy deodorant, buy perfume, you are smelling. I was like, are you serious? Because I know my sister, she's very, very clean. She's very clean. But these Arabs, I don't know, they have that habit of saying housemaids do smell. Even when themselves, they spend even a month without bathing. Another behavior is they have this thing of saying housemates love their phones very much. That they love their phones and they don't work. I've never had any madam who has never complained about a phone. Me, my phone, I don't use it in the morning. I use it like in the evening or even afternoons. But like in the morning, before it's midday, I don't use my phone. Because that is when I'm always busy and I don't want to be distracted. But my madam used to say I love the phone very much, more than my work. She gives me free money. My old madam, she was like, you know, you love your phone very much. You don't work. I'm like, what do you mean I don't work? Have you ever found any place that is dirty? If I catch my phone around 2 or 3 or even 5 or even 6, is it bad? When I'm done with my work, when most of the work is done. She was like, no, you should touch it when you're going to sleep. Then how am I going to sleep? Imagine at 5 you don't have anything to do. At 6 you don't have. At 7 you don't have. And you have to stay there just bored. Then lastly, they have this behavior, or you call it a habit, of always suspecting maybe you and the husband, there's something you're doing, or even the brothers. They have this jealousy inside them. There's a time I saw my boss like at the kitchen peeping to see if there's something I'm going to do with the son. The son was 36, very older than me even. But I saw her peeping, but I saw her like at the end of my eye, and I was like, you know, I'm not going to say anything. And that boy was really funny. So he came in the kitchen, he was like, Yalatashi, tomato, 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 no tomato, no tomato. Like he loved English, but he wasn't really good at it. I just loved him about that. He loved English, but he knew nothing. So tomato was the only thing he knew. So they're like, no tomato, no tomato, no tomato. So I was almost laughing, but I knew what was behind me. I was like, you know, Mr. Man, I'm not laughing because there's a bomb behind me. I'm not ready for that. The lady kept quiet there. Then the boy was like, what is wrong today? I kept quiet. Then he moved out. I think the lady was like, these people have nothing to do. So guys, they do have really very many annoying behaviors or habits, call them habits. But I decided to share with you these common ones that I've not only seen at my workplace, but at also the places that I've had chance to go and visit. So let me know in the comment section one of the most annoying habit or behavior that your madam has, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. You can also share it to your friends, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting this notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. Thank you so much for the love. May God bless you. See you in the next video.